I hated her on first sight. No, that's not quite true. She looked too much like her sister to hate her on first sight. Unfortunately, that was the only resemblance. Rose D'Angelo was a vulgar, scheming, uneducated bore. Rose D'Angelo wanted to marry my son to elevate herself. And I was bound to never let that happen.
So Paul was going to marry Rose, and that would have made you her mother-in-law, yes?
Yes.
If you could tell us what you did, Barbara.
What I did? It's what she did. I tried to persuade her.
Let's
I
keep
tried
your
to reason with her.
statement for the last few weeks.
I just want to be very clear here, all right? I had my reasons. If Rose D'Angelo had married my son, she would have destroyed my family. She wanted my son all to herself, and that's why she came to you about the spray paint. Don't you see? We were just trying to show you that moving away was destroying Will, hurting your family. That she twisted it all around. And that's when I knew I had no choice. I even warned her. You were there, Hal.
You think I'm afraid of you, Barbara? You're too pathetic to be afraid of.
Huh. Oh, you better be afraid. Because I'll tell you what, you have crossed me for the last time.
All right, enough, Barbara. Haven't you done enough?
Why are you?
Is that when you hired the hitman?
Yes. I knew she had to go.
But Rose wasn't killed by a hitman?
No. No, I called it off. I realized that what Rose and I had was, it was too personal. I had to see it through myself.
It's gonna be okay. Yeah, you're gonna marry Paul. You're gonna move to Paris and have a brand new life.
So, the day of the wedding, you went to the church disguised as a nun carrying a revolver.
What?
A nun? Are you... Seriously?
It worked. I got in. And then all I had to do was wait for Rose to be alone. And then I pulled out the gun. But you stopped me, didn't you, Hal?
You're going to commit murder now. In a church. What in the name of God have you become, Barbara? The gun wasn't loaded.
No. There was no need. I'd already killed her. It was just so simple. That was the beauty of it. Mouthwash. Of all things. Mouthwash. It's amazing all the things we take for granted. I mean, take, for example, this glass. Water looks pure, doesn't it? But you never know.
The poison, Barbara.
Yes. You're also anxious to find out how I did it. It's been fun, actually, watching you run around in circles.
Fun?
Well, it would be if the stakes weren't so high.
You fired the hitman.
Oh, Hal, leave it to you to keep me on track. Yes, yes, I fired the hitman. I really don't like guns, you know. I decided that poison would be the way to go. So I broke into Rose's house and put the methanol in her mouthwash.
Where'd you get it?
The mouthwash in her medicine cabinet.
The methanol.
Oh. Oh, well. I mean, it's a fairly common substance, isn't it? I just didn't want anyone recognizing me, not a store clerk or a cashier, so I ordered it online, and then I used a credit card to break into Rose's house, and then it was just a matter of waiting. I mean, you just didn't know how long it would be before she collapsed. I do have to give her points, though, for timing. I mean, at the altar, after After you told the whole world what a lying tramp she is, I should have charged admission.
You're insane.
Mom.
No, Paul. Just honest.
No, Mom, please stop, okay? It's hard enough to hear you say all these things. Don't pretend like you're enjoying it.
I'm sorry, darling. But I hated Rose D'Angelo. And I'm glad she's dead. Did I want to go to jail and separated from my family? No. But I'm a realist. I knew your father was closing in on me. So I had an idea. And Sister Babs snuck into the church, knowing that you'd have some of your guys positioned there. And so when you showed up and found me with a gun, you wouldn't suspect me of poisoning Rose. I mean, shooting someone after poisoning them, it's a bit much, even for me. But I didn't fool you.
Mom,
did I,
please,
Hal?
just stop. I'm begging you. This is not a game.
She thinks it's a game. And she thinks she's won.
I'll have to caution you both. This is Barbara's statement.
Yeah, well, it's over. She's already admitted to killing Rose, so turn that thing off.
No, there's much more, Paul. There's how I framed you. Speech that you made, I assumed that the police would want to test the champagne, so I hurried back to the church, and I got the bottle and the glasses, and I hid them in the family mausoleum. Later, I went back, and I swabbed a little methanol in the goblet in case they were going to test the champagne as well. It just never occurred to me that the molecular structure would be different. Talented, yes, genius, no, story of my life. Then I called you, disguised my voice, and told you to meet there.
Mom, but you swore to me.
I tried to set Molly up, yes, that was the original plan, but, you know, Paul had just made himself into such a perfect suspect. I really had no other choice. I didn't want to frame you. I really didn't. In spite of all the dreadful things that you have said and done to me, I do love you. So, there you are. I killed Rose and framed Paul.
I need to get this tape to Tom. Then I'm gonna check in on Will.
Please. Look, I've made a statement. I've made a confession. Let me be the one to tell him, please. Please, he's gonna be devastated. I need to tell him myself.
I can't promise you anything.
You could bring him down here.
We'll talk about this after the arraignment, which should be in a couple of hours. I'm so sorry.
It's not your fault, Dad.
How could you do this? How could you be so stupid, so selfish? You hated her, fine, but you had to kill her? Mom, do you have any idea what this is going to do to Will? He needs you. He loves you.
And I love him, too. Honey,
no.
none of it was directed at you, okay? None of it was directed at you. Despite everything, I'm your mother. And I love you. I know.
Yeah, and yet here we are. I'll see you at the hearing, Paul.
No tears. No recriminations.
No tears from me. I don't love you. And I already knew all this. And what I didn't know, I guess the rest. So there's no surprises. Except
What?
that you're here. That you're doing this. The lab report cleared me, Mother, but it didn't point a finger at you. So why do this? Why confess? Why now?
Hal caught me red-handed at Rose's looking for the mouthwash, remember?
Right.
Besides, I figured it was time. Don't you think? Time that we all get on with our lives.
What's left of it, maybe?
You'll be fine.